It's Unpaved with Sean Salisbury and my guy JB. We'll get to all the lineup as we go on. Triple E's here as well, here on Rumble. And Unpaved, we're going to be here for, well, we got so much to talk about. We might be here for 8 hours. Just kidding. It's free agency time, signings, huge weekend, and a huge day in the NFL. The key is all you got to do is say, trade me, and you'll get paid. So that's a good thing. So you want paid, and then you go become the highest non-quarterback pay in the history of the game. And Myles Garrett, we got a lot to get to. Quarterbacks, defensive backs, we got edge rushers, we got wide receivers, and we got teams that'll tell the player one thing and lie to him and then pay the other guy a lot more money. So there you go. So what a shock in the NFL. JB, welcome in. It's good to be with you. Weekends roll fast. Appreciate you guys and the birthday wishes, everybody all across, not only Rumble and Twitter, but all my peeps. Appreciate that. But let's get right to it, JB. The free agency period.
Happy birthday to you, man. Happy birthday to you, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, it was yesterday. Thank you very much. But like the ladies do.
Birthday belated, Sean. Yes.
Thank you. I am going to make this a birthday month. Isn't that how they do it? Isn't that how the ladies do it?
Yeah. Mine was last. You, Sean, so everybody out there knows, our good friend Pat Perez, golfer extraordinaire, Sean and I are all Pisces males. So we're all alpha fucking males, just FYI.
And there ain't no beta in this group. No.
Yeah, ain't no beta. Did you go to Cheetahs or any of those type of places? I heard you went over to.
You know what I did? I went over there instead of get a lap dance, I ate some prime rib, medium rare. Nothing better. Hey, is there anything better at a strip club than you walk in? I ain't been to a strip club.
Wings. Fuck. That's wings.
Well, first off, when you walk into a strip club, it's awful tough to eat when you're staring up at bologna flaps, okay? That's not exactly 10 pounds of cold cuts, not on the plate, but above the plate. Not exactly where I want to be. Now, listen, I'm sure for you, JB, there's some pure class out there. I know there is. But it's been a while since I've been in. I mean, when you go to the male strip club, what's that like? What's that? What's that one? When you go to the male strip club and you come back and tell me like that?
Yeah,
no.
That's what I was asking you. Didn't you go to one of the premier spots you guys, I know you grew up in like Cheetahs and shit like that. Isn't that male strip club?
I wouldn't know anything about that, but I've just always had a hard time visualizing some prime rib, medium rare when if you're at a strip club. I mean, that's just what I heard. I mean, that's what they tell me that there's meals served at the strip club, but I wouldn't know what your honey garlic wings taste like at the male strip club, dog. So, hey, but who's counting? Back to the alpha male stuff here in March, right? There you go. Birthday times.
Go
ahead.
I just was hearing guys were stuffing your thong with $10 bills and shit for your birthday. I didn't know what was going on.
Well,
but congratulations. You turned 50? Turned 50?
51.
Right above me.
I started playing in the NFL when I was 9. Okay. There you go. It's Unpaved here, and we got a lot to discuss. Let's first start. Let's switch back to the biggest one of the weekend, which is the quarterback in Josh Allen. $330 million, $250 of it guaranteed, 6 years. Great season. He deserved every penny of it. Now I'm gonna post something here that's gonna have you probably piss yourself. And listen, between Josh and Lamar Jackson, you can and Saquon Barkley, a lot of MVP worthy guys last year. Josh Allen wins it. And considering of all the quarterbacks that were in that race, he probably had the least amount of explosive talent around him on his football team. Hell, Cook might be the most explosive talent, not named him on that team. Really good player. But with this in mind, he got his money, and rightfully so. Buffalo feels like a career guy in Buffalo, and I think it's awesome. He got it. But I can tell you this, of the guys who signed, think about all the guys who signed, none of them yet. I mean, not just signed, but the big contracts recently. You think about Trevor Lawrence, talk about $55 million. He hadn't sniffed one. Dak Prescott at $60 million, no Super Bowl. Josh hasn't got his. Lamar hasn't got his. We had a lot of guys getting paid.
Kyler Murray, Tua
at 53, 54 million. A lot of guys getting paid don't have Super Bowl rings and on some talented teams. And that shouldn't be the only judge of why. Josh Allen should be paid. I hold him in the highest regard. But if you're Patrick Mahomes, I'm just telling you, if you really wanted to, I know he would take less to make sure, and he signed that big contract a handful of years ago and is restructured to be able to then go get players and get back to Super Bowls. He's won a couple. What has he won? 2? Is that what he's won? 2 of them or 3 of them? He won 3, right? He's won 3, been to 5. Is that correct? Or was it
Yeah,
1, 3,
5.
been to 5? And if you get right down to it, if he wanted to be a prick about this and go to Kansas City and say, here's the deal. I want to see my name at the top of the list just once, because he feels like the guy that's always going to take a little less to get other players paid. But if we're really talking about value and we're talking about what he means, not to discount what Josh got, because he should have got every penny of it, and we pay quarterbacks, and I get it. But if he really wanted to be that guy and go in and say, for a year, I got to see my name at the top of that list. If Dak Prescott's worth $60 million, if you're just talking about value and production, Patrick Mahomes could go in and say, pay me $80 million for 5 years and I want 100% guaranteed. They couldn't say no. How would you? When you talk about Super Bowl rings, different talent, coach, we can't diminish what he's done. Not to take away from all these names we're going to get to. Josh Allen deserves his flowers and has played great football. But I can tell you this, that offense, and I know the numbers have gone down the last couple of years. He's finding different ways to win. But I'm going to tell you, that offense ain't that explosive in Kansas City. They're really not. That offense was the weakness for the most part of that season. It's crazy to call an Andy Reid offense with Kelsey, and although he's aging a little bit, and Patrick Mahomes, a weakness. But it has been really for the last 2 years, other than some big games. So when you look at Mahomes, he could literally walk in there and say, I want a 7-year deal for $80 million a year, and I want it 100% guaranteed. For production purposes and what he's brought, you couldn't turn him down. You would have to say yes.
I think, Sean, the Mahomes deal, though, like structure-wise, is kind of like Ohtani with the Dodgers.
It's going to get bigger at the end. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he got $60 million.
Right now, he guaranteed all of it.
Yeah, he got $60 million in 23. He got 45 last year. He'll get 50 this year. It's a 10-year, $450 million deal. They can restructure the deal after 26. I'm sure they'll make him the highest paid at that point. I don't feel so. Put it this way, Sean, I don't feel sorry for him.
Oh, no, not at all. My point isn't right. The restructure.
No, I hear you, though.
After the 26th season or during 26, right?
Yeah, they'll make him the highest paid, I'm sure.
But remember when he signed that deal, I remember people saying, man, you sure you want to sign that long? Because you're going to be worth a lot more money when it comes down. And people are like, $450, there's no way anybody's going to make it that. We're at $60 million a year. By the time Mahomes' contract comes up, we'll be staring at $75 million a year. We just will. So if he wants to go about it that way, the dude, and if I'm him, I ask for 100% guarantee, and he will get it. He will flat ass get it if this production, and they keep going to Super Bowls. But I digress. To Josh Allen, worth it, every penny of it. He's not Jim Kelly yet, different type player. Jim had him in 4. Josh hasn't had him in 1 yet. Jim had more talent around him, but Jim Kelly was as tough as 100-year-old leather. That dude was a monster toughness and played great football. But the way salaries go up, Josh Allen, now I don't know if it'll be a lifer at the end of this contract. Will there be more? I'm sure there will be. But I think this is a great job by Buffalo sending a message to their star, and I think it's great. The NFL is, hell. Now we're getting on par with Major League Baseball and NBA players, and our best players should get paid, and I like it.
Yeah, I just hope, I have my co-host Smitty on my show. We got into it today about can we please keep the race and the race baiting out of it? Like ESPN, all these networks have already started with the shit. Like, we don't care what color you are as coaches and players. We don't really care, man. I'm tired of that shit, Sean. I just wanted to bring it up. Like, people are already, Josh Allen's getting $260 guaranteed, and Lamar's whole contract's only worth $260. And I'm just like, so what?
Well,
the market's been set, right, Sean? Each year, somebody new. By the way, five black quarterbacks have been the highest paid guys in the NFL. So why are you bringing it up?
The person or people who bring that up, I hate to say it I'm not talking about Smitty. I love Smitty, but there are a group of race baiters out there that bring it up, knowing what they're causing the stir. And 2 is they're the ones with the issue, nobody else.
Yeah, and Smitty didn't bring it up. Smitty was just like, Josh Allen deserves it. Boom, boom. And that's my point. We were like, see, we don't care about color. We played in the locker room, and you and I know, Sean, you walk in there, it didn't matter what color coach was coaching us, and it didn't matter what color the player was. We don't give a shit.
The greatest melting pot and non-race issues in the world exist in NFL locker rooms, period.
Or locker room, period, right? College, high,
Yeah.
I mean, it really doesn't
doesn't
matter.
College football, high school. The only time it's like when people talk about kids. Kids aren't born with that. It's their family. They put them in an environment, and it's learned. You ain't born with that hatred. Well, I can tell you this. I don't know why we got to stomp on people who get theirs, and all of a sudden we got to go to the race card. Glad you brought. Listen, I'm that close. I don't watch the trash on TV anymore. I just won't. There's some good analysts. There's some good analysts on TV, but you know what? The majority of them bore me and send me to sleep, and they're fucking unlistenable, okay, and unwatchable. Especially with this, when you go on and they're race baiting pricks, and I'm tired of it. I really am. I'm tired of it. We're in sports. The only time we think about it is when dumbasses bring it up. So, and it's not always the best player who gets the highest contract. It's called timing. You had to learn. Some of these people need to understand how to study a little bit of math and understand how the metrics and the economics in pro sports work. Rarely is it the one guy. Okay, Soto's good. Is Soto better than Ohtani? No,
Right.
he's not. So point is that this is always going to happen. There's always going to be that person looking for trouble. Josh Allen's contract had nothing to do with, we're going to pay the white guy more than the black guy. And Lamar Jackson, listen, Lamar does his own contract. And sometimes you may get an agent that gets you more, and then you don't have to pay, that you got to give a fee to. And Lamar did it. He got paid, and Lamar's going to be up for another one. Lamar Jackson's a monster on the fee. He's a phenomenal player and gotten better. So is Josh Allen. I just don't know why. Listen, we've been through that. There is no doubt in society in certain places that in an NFL locker room, I'm sorry to tell you folks, you can race bait and chase that shit all you want. Nobody in a front office that I was ever affiliated with, black or white, and same with the NFL locker room, when we walked in there, oh, you got paid more because you're white, or you got paid more because you're black. I never heard that. And so
Not me either.
it's a lazy bullshit, lazy narrative that usually tells me when they start to go there on – now, and what it does, when they start to go there, it tells me they really don't have much else to say. They haven't done any preparation. Secondly, you ruin when race really does become a problem. You really do, when there really is a race issue. Color of Josh Allen's skin, the color of Lamar Jackson's skin. Now, I can tell you this, when Lamar came out of school, there were some people, that move him to slot, like, oh, because he's a black quarterback with great feet and a big arm, and one eyes would move him to slot because, well, he can't be that guy in the pocket, which is bullshit too. So it does exist, but I can tell you once they're there, the last thing you or me or anybody else should be thinking is, well, Lamar got paid. So what do we call Mahomes? He got the most. Why? Because he got a white and a black parent. So if you're mixed, you get the most money, or you don't. What I mean, it's just stupid. Focus on what we're talking about. When race needs to apply, we can apply it. At some point, well, who's the highest paid quarterback yearly in the league right now? I think that's Dak Prescott at $60 million, right?
Still the highest.
It's still high. So for me, JB, you bring that, it chaps my ass to the point when there is a race issue, that's when we need to pounce on it. This ain't it. And I'm so disgusted and tired of it. I don't even know who said what you're talking about on what network it was. But to me, it's just, it's nothing more than bait, man. And if you buy it and fall for it, then they got you. They hoodwinked you. Okay, completely bamboozled you into thinking it. Josh Allen deserved it. Mahomes deserves it. Lamar, and you know what? Next time around, Lamar may get his, and he may make 75 or 80 million. But when the highest paid, and we'll have Warren Moon on this week. We will have Warren Moon on this week. And
let's be honest. Money talks, bullshit walks. And I love Max Crosby. Obviously, I got a good relationship with Max. But he said, I want to play for a winner. Guess where he signed? Raiders. Miles Garrett says, I'm done with the Browns. Get me the fuck out of here. Guess where he signed back with? The Browns.
No doubt.
DK Metcalf said, hey, I want to play in warm weather with a quarterback. Guess where he went? Pittsburgh.
Who doesn't have
Cold weather,
quarterback.
no quarterback. So money talks, man.
And also, Seattle said they didn't want to pay Geno. They want to get a bargain basement price. And they went and paid Sam Darnold, and good for Sam. Geno went and got it to the Raiders. They paid Sam Darnold, 3 years, 110.5 and 55 guaranteed. So they paid him more. Devontae Adams, they got rid of Cooper Kupp, and they said, well, we don't want to pay a post-30 guy extra money. And he's making more money than Cooper Kupp. That's exactly what they're doing. So, listen, front offices bullshit you. Media bullshit you. Analysts bullshit you. And they try to make it – it's simply Click that button. I'm never doing this show for a click of a button. If you want to click it, click it. You want to view it, love having you. But when I got to lose integrity of why I'm covering the sport or sports or politics or entertainment, there will be a time and a place to cover the quarterbacks. I mean, aren't we past this yet? I guess we're not with the way we talk. Are we not? I know it exists in society, but I don't. In sports, it is absolutely an embarrassment that we are really talking about the reason Josh Allen got paid by some is because he's white. Stop it. Just friggin' stop it. Stop it.
And Sean, you made a point last week about the 49ers. You and I discussed them a little bit and kind of like the demise possibly of Lynch and Shanahan. You should have get off the pot. Today, this morning alone, Sean, and not to get off topic, but they've literally are just doing this. They lost to Funga about 10 minutes ago to the Broncos. Their hard-hitting safety and their right tackle signed with the Chiefs. Andy Reid's trying to secure that $500 million asset you just mentioned in Mahomes. So the Niners just lost two more good players.
I told you last week Hufanga was gone and Dre Green, the Greenlaw stuff. I told you Hufanga was going to be gone, and he's gone. And I'm just telling you, the 49ers are not going to be the favorite in the West this year.
The Rams are clear-cut right now. Rams are clear-cut.
Right now,
Devontae Adams. Hey, good luck stopping that fucking offense with Stafford, Nakua, and Devontae Adams healthy, along with Kyron Williams up front. Good luck with Stafford.
That's going to be one of the more explosive offenses in the NFC, and a wise move by the Rams to back off the letting Stafford go seek a trade and bring him back. Okay, it's not who you have. If you're willing to give somebody up, it's what are you going to bring in replacing him? And I didn't see whether it's Sam Darnold or Aaron Rodgers. There wasn't anybody that was going to be available that was going to give you more production than Matt Stafford at the quarterback position. That's Darnold, Geno Smith getting moved to the Raiders. It wouldn't have mattered. Justin Fields, who got, 2 years or for $40 million and $30 million guaranteed to be the Jets guy. So, which we'll get to, which leads us to the top of the draft and teams that need quarterbacks that are still sitting up there. And will Jackson Dart jump into the Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward group? Or is there going to be a chasm between it where you got those two and then Jackson Dart? Or is Jackson Dart such a fast riser that he jumps in and somebody steals him at number as the second quarterback in this? Ward's going to go first, I believe, when it comes to quarterback. So, but it's a big day, and as we're talking here, other stuff's going to come about. But so we all agree, or at least JB, you and I agree, that Josh Allen is this was a wise move to pay him this.
And next year it'll be Burrow again or Mahomes or, one of these other guys. I mean, this is what it is.
Well, listen, if we're complaining, Jordan Love got $50+ million, and he had really started one full season. And he's going to be a hell of a player. So
he got hurt early on. Yeah.
Exactly
Sean,
right.
after what's going on so far in the quarterback world, the top three teams now with picks, Tennessee, Cleveland, and the Giants. A week ago, you and I were like, well, I think all these guys are going to go veteran heavy. They're going to go get the loose, Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson's. And then you see the Raiders, woo, boom, trade for Geno Smith. And then today we see what we saw. Is that telling you today that now those top three teams take a rookie QB in the draft, which maybe last week we probably thought, we were thinking, Abdul Carter, DN, and one of these O&D linemen and all this. Now it looks like quarterback again has emerged as a top pick in these three places. Interesting happenings today.
Yeah, I believe Cam Ward's going to be the first quarterback taken. And I think he'll play, man. That's what the Giants are sitting at the top.
You think he goes 1 to Tennessee, though?
What's that?
You think he goes to Tennessee at 1, though?
No, well, unless they trade down. Well, who else are you picking at 1? They don't. I don't think they put on Will. I don't think they're. This will be.
Yeah.
This will be. I mean, are you going to go into the season with Will Levis as your starter? Is that what you plan?
Well, I'm just saying, if I were to ask you,
Bill,
you've been in these rooms and you've been in these meetings and stuff, and you know how GMs operate. And let me ask you though, are you going to continue as an organization to draft QB after QB after QB to fail? Eventually, your fan base is going to say, "Hey, man, you drafted Malik Willis, bust, got rid of him for a Chico stick and string cheese. You go get Will Levis, and obviously, I mean, it hasn't panned out like you thought. At what point do you say we got to go get a veteran and build a roster? I mean, we're going to keep drafting rookie QBs to fail? I mean, that's just my question to you. You've been in those rooms.
Well, JB, unfortunately, and I've told you last week about the ifs that go with it. There's too many ifs around these quarterbacks. So I know in a normal year, you wouldn't. Listen, my question is, are you winning more games with Russell Wilson or Cam Ward as a rookie? Are you looking at this as or with Kirk Cousins or a rookie? Or are you saying, I think Cam Ward's got some ability, I do. But in a normal year with other quarterbacks, he wouldn't. If last year's quarterback class, he'd be the fifth guy taken in the quarterback class, fourth guy taken.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. But how JB, you got to keep swinging and missing, right? Or replace the guys that keep doing they keep swinging and then the player keeps missing. I mean,
anywhere that gets rid of Mike Vrabel as your head coach and think you're going to get better already has me questioning management. That's number one. I'm just going to say, I'm going to start right there. Watch how Vrabel turns this damn Patriots team back around, and everybody's going to say, well, why did we get rid of him in Tennessee? That's number one, Sean. Like, people thought they were really going to get better when they got rid of Vrabel. I said, you got to be some of the dumbest people on planet Earth.
Hence, look at him. They got rid of they should have started looking above Mike Grant. I know they made general manager change the year before and the rest of it, but look at Cleveland.
Hey, Sean, Derrick Henry can't play no more. Derrick Henry can't play no more. He only fucking almost led the league in rushing for the Ravens.
Who's that? Derrick. Oh, yeah. Get him out. Force him out the door. Hell, if Saquon Barkley's not in, that dude's an MVP candidate. I mean, he was all year. And an offensive player of the year candidate. Derrick Henry and he made Lamar Jackson better and vice versa. Well, look how Lamar and Derrick Henry both succeeded when you have a quarterback. They keep missing, and you ran some really good people, and you allowed, hey, how about when you traded A.J. Brown? You had to get rid of him, right? Your best friend. And then
it's just snowball.
Yes. So, and then you got Cleveland. They're all think about this. The Giants are dysfunctional with they can't. Their coaching staff's on a you better win or you're out deal.
Yeah, I like Dable a lot. You and I like Dable. Play caller, nasty, getting your ass, quarterback guy.
If your signal caller can't make plays, he'll get fired if they don't win. Secondly, Tennessee, we've seen the stuff they're going through, as we just mentioned. So are you going to go get a quarterback, or are you going to find somebody who can change your franchise now on one of these other players? And then, obviously, the Cleveland Browns, what a cluster. You got Miles.
They renegotiated his contract for the third time.
What's that?
They've renegotiated Deshaun's contract for the third time a week ago. So,
well, listen, you and I both know if they could do this all over again, Deshaun Watson would have never been a Cleveland Brown. It would have never happened. I don't think Deshaun Watson's got good football left in him anymore. I think he's going to be just a guy in the league.
He's cooked up here.
No, you can't. There is no way on God's green earth that he can't be carrying around that. He can't. That's too much to compartmentalize. You can't leave that at the door, go in and play good football and come back. How many great games has he had since he's been a Brown when he's been healthy?
Jameis Winston had a better game his first start.
Jameis Winston's a better thrower of the football than Watson is right now. He's healthy. It's
crazy.
No doubt. He turns it over too much. So, for me, there's no way. Two of those teams are going to take a quarterback, dude. Even if you would go get a veteran like Russ Wilson to try and, or Cousins, you're still going to probably take one and say we may not play him, like what happened in Minnesota, even though it was an injury to McCarthy. But you got to. What are you going to do? That franchise, even though you signed Myles Garrett, now gives them hope on defense. But if you're the Cleveland Browns offense and you're Stefanski, aren't you sitting there saying, I can't go back. Deshaun's not even going to be ready to go. It's another Achilles, re-injured the Achilles.
Another year.
You got to draft. You got to get a quarterback. Now, the only thing is Cousins willing to go there if they want, because I think he has
Atlanta said recently he's off the market. So Atlanta apparently is keeping him. I don't know if it's a trade.
They're going to keep him there with all that money and have him back up Penix. So
have you ever seen that, by the way? Have you ever seen a $27 million a year guy in Kirk Cousins being a backup and not dumping him for salary usage?
No, I'd like to have that job. The backup for 27 mil, 30 mil, right?
I mean, I don't got to even know the damn scouting report to a T. I can just kind of hang out. Hopefully the kid don't get hurt, and I'm chilling 27 mil. Yeah. Shit, I like that job.
And I know Cousins is a competitor, but he was not healthy last year. I'm not making excuses. He played piss poor football. He did not play well last year, which is unlikely.
Hey, so let me clarify and ask you. So you're saying if you were Tennessee, I might have heard you wrong. You're saying maybe go get a Russell Wilson and draft an Abdul Carter, or get better as a roster and go with a veteran over a rookie with a bad roster? Am I right?
All depends. First of all, one
Yeah.
player is not going to make a difference in them this year, but
That's what I'm saying.
but one player does help you start to build a foundation down the road. It may end up being a hall pass year. Here's what I think. Will Levis can throw it across the Pacific Ocean.
Atlantic.
The problem is sitting in your yacht, he can't drop it in that ocean. Where there's two guys in the division that can throw it from me to you, from Texas to California. The problem is on the way there, it goes like 47 different routes to get there in Richardson and Will Levis. That goes back to show you there's a big difference between a thrower and a quarterback, or a thrower and a pitcher. Okay.
And
both of those guys are athletic, strong, big physical throwers. And when you yank a check down into the ground 5 times out of 10, I'm going to have trouble winning with you, even though you're an explosive talent. Big difference between being a talent and a quarterback. So with that, here's what I think. The way Tennessee's made decisions recently, they may still think Levis is going to be a great player. If they think he's going to be a player, then you go get a veteran and let him sit back and watch. To me, I believe that they don't think that. I actually think they probably are going to take quarterback, and I'll be damned, but I think Cleveland probably will too. How can't they? Even though I'm not saying either these quarterbacks would normally be there, because I think Ward's the best, but if you're hinging your future right now on a rookie quarterback, Kevin Stefanski won't have a job long, and neither will Andrew Berry if you're Cleveland. In Tennessee, we've seen those mistakes. I think a lot's got to happen between now and then, and there's still some veterans available. But you're not winning a Super Bowl with Russ Wilson right now. You are not winning a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins. You're not making, more than likely, you're not making the playoffs with either one of those dudes, regardless of these
Sean, and I'm just here to update the folks watching as you go, Sean, and just give you updates that we're getting in the back room here. Like the Eagles are. The Rams are catching the Eagles quietly as kept, Sean, as the Eagles lost their best defensive player in Josh Sweat, as the Cardinals just signed him on a $76 million 4-year deal. Josh Sweat leaves the Eagles and heads to the Cardinals.
Remember, the Rams, as good as Philadelphia was and as good as they played in the Super Bowl, the Rams were a final drive away from winning beating them. They're pushing that game. It was so, yeah, the Rams have closed the gap, and they know it, and McVay wants another one or two before he sails off and goes and does TV himself and gets paid $20 million a year or whatever it is. He's going to get paid it one day, but he's too young to do that. He's got a lot of coaching left in front of him. So, JB, obviously in the next month we're going to find out just how these rising quarterbacks go, and what'll tell us is what veteran left on those teams you talked about, Giants, Tennessee, and Cleveland. What guy did they go get, and what do they pay him and guarantee him at quarterback? We'll kind of get an idea if they're thinking quarterback on the draft. All right, we spend too much time on 3 horseshit teams right now that need a lot of work, and their fan bases deserve better. Myles Garrett, obviously a big get. He gets $40 a year for 6 years, 4-year extension at $160, and 123 of it guaranteed. Deserves every penny, which leads me to Micah Parsons and hometown discount to make his team better. Does he want more now than Myles Garrett? Does he deserve more than Myles Garrett? I think Myles Garrett's the only guy in history that's had 14 or more sacks 4 straight years. So he's productive on a team that should be better, but their offense has let them down. Injuries to guys like Chubb and an offense that's let them down. And I don't see Cleveland getting much better offensively as we speak right now. If defense doesn't win games, and shockingly, their offensive line was not good. They went 3 years ago, a pretty good offensive line. When they had Batonio, they were starting to rise. They had some players. Offensive line's not very good, and the quarterback position's not good. So, but Myles Garrett, hey, trade me like you said. But when you can get paid, all of a sudden Cleveland becomes a great. I can't wait to stay, and I don't blame him. I'd have taken the money and stayed as well. Geno Smith, Devontae Adams, Micah Parsons, these guys that are moving. We saw Hassan Reddick and Godwin both are in Tampa, both signed with Tampa. We're not going to get Javon Kinlaw, makes the Commanders better on a 3-year deal. He got himself, $45 mil a year, 45 mil, so 15 a year for him. There's a lot of movement, but back to the talking about the Rams and the upgrade with Devontae Adams. How big an upgrade do you believe it is, Devontae Adams and Cooper Kupp?
Right now, I would say I say it's an upgrade. Devontae going there.
Agreed.
I
100%.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Devontae's big time if he's still, a guy that can play at a high level. I think he's still an upgrade. At the same time, Cooper was just too injury prone. I do agree. I just think he was too injury prone. I think Cooper makes sense with a veteran QB, a veteran team that can be a guy to mentor a big time number one. You know what I mean? Kansas City comes to mind. They don't have a big time one, but he's a guy that can go in and Andy Reid system, be a guy that can run routes still and get open and free up your real number one. That's just a guy he needs.
Xavier Worthy. He's going to be a good player.
I don't even mind him in staying in L.A. and going across the street with Harbaugh and Herbert. I don't mind that move. And now with Geno, do you mind him going to Vegas?
No, I don't. The Raiders needed a player. And Geno Smith, his when I call it a comeback from journeyman to doing great things and being a Pro Bowler in Seattle, and he's going to get coached well by Chip Kelly and with the Raiders. It's an upgrade, and like I say, Aiden O'Connell can throw it, but it's a definite upgrade. Which is that talk of Shedeur Sanders to the Raiders. That's not happening.
Yeah, we said that. 73-year-old's not drafting a rookie.
I think put it this way: he'll be the best quarterback they've had since Carr. I can tell you that.
And here's the thing: Sean King thinks that Geno's a top 5 ball spinner in the NFL. Now, can he turn over? Can he stop the low red zone turnovers? But ball spinning wise, you and I just throwing it out here. He, like you say, he could throw it to a car wash, and not get the ball wet. I mean, he's a big time thrower now, a spinner, a passer, an elite guy. But
he's got to get him some weapons, man. Got to get him some offensive, some players, and there's no doubt he can rip it. And so I think that's an upgrade. I want to get back to Parsons in a second. So as we go through Davante Adams upgrade, some teams are moving, man. Players, like I said, when people, loyalty, why are you leaving? Players want to get paid. They're always going to want to get paid. And whether you request a trade or not. But here's a team I'm still thinking Pittsburgh Steelers, where an Aaron Rodgers going to end up, because that window's starting to close for other teams as far as who's opening their door for Aaron Rodgers right now. Not only are you dealing with
New York Giants for one, right?
Not only are you dealing after a player who's coming off injury from 2 years ago, and it affected. He wasn't the same mobile guy last year, and he was even though he had a decent season, he still wasn't the same guy. Will he get that back? But you're starting to the Colts you mentioned as a possible starter, the Pittsburgh Steelers as a starter. I still think he's got game, but those teams, those doors. And then the question is, how many of the teams want to deal with the sideshow that is going to be Aaron Rodgers, whether you like it or not? You mentioned last week about Rodgers in Indianapolis, the Pat McAfee thing and all that, possibly. And then you say, okay, we're gonna take a step back and let Richardson watch another year or two and see if Rodgers can come in, but we'll keep him and hope that this helps, and that's fine. So that for the window for Rodgers and the demand for Aaron Rodgers as starting quarterback, they're not standing in line right now, JB. They're just not. And we both like him. Do you love him, though? That's the problem. Do you love him right now? Do you think he's committed to it?
No, I don't think so, Sean. Here's the thing, though. Brian Daboll's put in a very peculiar situation now because he was banking on Aaron Rodgers or a veteran, I'm pretty sure. Now you've lost all the veterans except for maybe Russell Wilson's floating around there. If Brian Daboll has to draft rookie, we can pretty much write up his termination letter, right?
Oh, good gracious. If he drafts a rookie, unless the front office is heavy on the rookie and they see signs of his growth when they draft him and say, let's get Brian and go at Kafka another year after this because it's a hall pass rookie quarterback year. But the media in New York will tear him to smithereens. You know how that goes. They want to win. They don't care who the quarterback is. And the ironic thing is across the street now you go get the Jets, who got a little bit of what we saw with Zach Wilson. He's a better athlete than Zach Wilson's Justin Fields. He's got an enormous skill set. But one of the skills he doesn't have is a consistency throwing the football to open receivers. Now, if I say drop back, see the first guy, take off, and go do some shit with it, Fields is a monster. Dude, that guy's a big physical runner. But you left Zach Wilson because he couldn't hit a flat route on a 3rd and 3, and with a big arm, and then you're going to go get a guy and commit to him and make him your starter at $30 million guaranteed. And he poses the same. Now he gives you more with his feet, but he poses the same throwing problem. And if I'm the Jets, it's like, are we really? Is this what we're doing right now? Is this what we're doing? I like Fields. I don't love him. I don't think he's a great. I think he's a big arm talent, but I don't think he's not a pure passer of the football and accurate with the ball on a consistent basis. That New York clusterfuck that goes on, dude, in both of them, because they've got. I mean, listen, the Jets have players. The Jets got some talent, but you're kind of you're treading on the Zach Wilson inaccurate. Wow you one day, and then give the job to somebody else the next. That's what the Jets are in, and then Brian Dable with the Giants. You're right. If they're banking on it, but truth is, if you draft a rookie like Cam Ward high, you got to play him right now. You're not tomorrow, not the next. You plug him in the second he gets off the plane and play him.
Let me ask you, put your shoes on, put Aaron Rodgers shoes on your feet, Sean. Let's say he does have Pickens. He can actually pick a few teams, and people actually want him and need him. If you're Aaron Rodgers, though, are you saying I want to deal with this New York shit show media still? I just moved across the street. I kept my house. He upgraded his house, apparently. The rumors are he just redid his house in New York. So New York's convenient for him, but he does have a house out here on the West Coast, obviously being a California guy. Like, would you want to deal with that media, the number one media market in the country? Do you want to deal with that sideshow on another bad team?
Much respect to the media in New York, because they love when you're going good, man. They love you, but they're not pulling any punches when you're playing horse shit. There's not.
No.
For me, it feels like you're playing you are in the same stadium, but it feels like you're on the same team again. And I almost feel like even if you're a Jets fan, the Giants are like, oh, we get a new guy. It almost feels like he was playing for you, even though he was a Jet, because you know what I mean? For me, if Aaron Rodgers is going to have success, plus they're not going to win in New York with the Giants right now. He has to go somewhere else. He absolutely has to. The question is, it seems logical. If you're Aaron, too, you say, okay, where can I win? Where am I going to get paid? And they still believe me. With a coach who gets it, to me, it's either Pittsburgh or bust, dude, because you got Metcalf, Pickens. They run the football with Najee Harris. Mike Tomlin's teams get to the playoffs every year, so you'll have a chance, right? You will have a chance. And their defense is good. So if you're Aaron Rodgers and they offer you, hell, I'd take less money to go to Pittsburgh because at least I got a chance. Cleveland, offense sucks. Baltimore's really good. Cincinnati, unless they get a defense, is going to be Burrow throwing for 400 a week. So you've still got a legitimate chance. If winning at this stage of his career is the most important thing and getting some money. To me, I can't see him in New York right now after what happened with the Jets. It feels like it'd be too bitter. Keep the crib in New York. It's just too tough. And if you want to win, that ain't the place right now. So
yeah, Sean. So many questions, I guess.
There's not a lot of teams standing in line for this right now. And we thought, well, maybe Raiders. Well, that's done. We thought, well, maybe then you thought, well, when they traded Geno, is the Seahawks? Well, that's done. And now it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. To me, it's Pittsburgh or bust unless Tennessee jumps into this fray and you want him there. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. I have zero idea because we don't hear much from Aaron about it. My biggest concern with Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be if he can throw a slant route. My biggest concern with Aaron Rodgers is how much does he love it and where's his head? Not because where's his head on the grind that it's going to take on a shitty team, let alone the toughness it's going to take going to a team that, you got to prove to that team, like a Pittsburgh team, that you're worthy of it. And Pittsburgh, I'm sure they wish Ben had a little eligibility left. He'd come back and play because that's when they were at their best, and they haven't seen it since on a consistent basis.
Sean, you made this, I don't know, you made it a point last week on the show. Can you see him following Favre's steps, as you mentioned and alluded to, and this somehow gets worked out where he ends up with Addison and Justin Jefferson in Minnesota? I mean, it's getting to be real weird right now because if Russell Wilson right now, even though he's free, he's a Steeler until we find out otherwise. And do they run it back with Russ and allow Aaron to possibly chase that, that path of Brett Favre?
It sounds like there's no friggin' way, but it sure feels like it's got a little logic to it. And I got news for you. Minnesota ain't going to win 14 or 15 games, no matter who the quarterback is. But you want some players. That's a pretty damn good place to go, and they're feeling it now. And they got some good defensive players and an offensive line as well.
For you and I, though, probably the most exciting place for him to go, huh?
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. The question is like up, Brett goes here, I'm going there. Brett goes here, I'm going. I mean,
for his legacy.
but you know what? Why not? Now remember, Favre had a fumble, Adrian Peterson fumble, and a throw across your body. It was that in New Orleans, I think it was, away from taking that team to another place, brother. So I don't know. Now listen, if you say give me the choice, to me it's Pittsburgh or Minnesota. The question is Daniel Jones going to hold it over and compete with J.J. McCarthy, wondering about McCarthy's health? There's so many, the carousel.
There's a lot going on.
It really is, JB. And let me get this real quick. Let me talk about our studio sponsor, and they're going to be with us for a long time. And when the studio gets done, you'll be able to see all the signage. It's not per se a studio, but Premier Gold's our big studio lover, and we appreciate them. And they're also one of our big sponsors here, and I'm so grateful to have them in the relationship. Spent my career, making decisions on the field. As quarterback, you do. Sometimes mine were wrong, way too many of them. Throw it at the other team. But that's not as much pressure even then as it is now in your life and my life off the field. After you leave that sport, you don't have linemen chasing you, but you do got retirement and big money decisions that can affect your life chasing you when that clock hits zero. It's my retirement, my savings, and yours as well with everything you've worked for. So I ask myself, is everything what's going on in the market? Is my retirement safe? My money safe? Is it enough? What do I do to protect what I've built so hard to keep? And it's sometimes not what you make, it's what you keep, right? And can you do that? And back in the day, biggest concern was reading the defense and dodging defensive linemen and linebackers. But now there's a lot more going on in the goal line. And this is the goal line of life. One wrong play in finances could be setback years. 401ks, IRA accounts. So many hardworking Americans are putting their wealth there, trusting that they'd be set when that time comes. But over the years, markets take a hit, another and another. And my retirement's taken a hit. I'm sure your guys has too. Hopefully you get that back. But one bad day on Wall Street can mean a whole lot of years of trying to catch. And how many of those do you have left in retirement? How old are you? Where are you? Can you stay retired? You got to go back to work. The older you get, the harder it's to bounce back. And I realize you got to have a playbook on a team. And if the playbook sucks, you're in trouble. This playbook doesn't. It's the Premier Gold Co. playbook, and it's around financial security. It's about building wealth and keeping it and protecting it. I've teamed up with Premier Gold. They've helped countless and numbers of folks like me and you protect what we've worked with: physical gold, tangible, real assets that stand the test of time. Inflation, market swings, the up and down of national debt, it all eats away at your retirement savings, but not precious metals. Physical gold and silver can provide security and freedom. Premier Gold makes it easy for retirees to own gold. It also offers expert guidance and simple rollover process with no hidden fees. If you're close to retirement or you're already there and you need a plan to protect what's yours, just like in the game, timing is everything. Timing on the field and off it, and this one's a little more pressure-filled for you. So don't wait till it's too late. Call them today at 949-566-8666. It's precious metals, and they can help protect your retirement. 949-566-8666. Premier Gold is standing by with free one-on-one consultation to walk you through rolling over your 401k or IRA into physical precious metals like gold. Premier Gold is the only team I trust, and that is it. This is it. Nowhere else. And recommend to my listeners, friends, and family, call 949-566-8666 or head to the link below, which is secure.premier.goldco.com/Sean. That's secure.premier.goldco.com/Sean. You can speak to somebody below today. As you see that there, go there to that site or call them at 949-566-8666. It's Premier Gold Co. secure.premier.goldco.com/Sean. Make that decision. Protect your retirement, just like these guys, JB, that are trying to protect their big money and their retirement. No reason why you shouldn't start now. And I like physical, tangible assets that protect it. Well, the Cleveland Browns got an asset, and they kept that asset. The Seahawks think they got one. Josh, they kept theirs in Buffalo. There's a guy who hadn't signed yet, defensive player, Micah Parsons, when I talk about that big extension that he's going to want. Will it surpass Myles Garrett?
I'm sure it will, just because the marketplace dictates the pay, right? That's what, you and I say that every day. So. And it's the two things, Sean. Do you earn it? Have you earned it? Are you worth it? And, that's the two questions I have to ask you. Like, are you worth it or have you earned it? I don't pay you unless you've earned it. That's just my motto. I think that's your motto. We're old school. You have to earn the shit to get it. I can't pay you off of worth and expect a return on investment, right? I can't just wish in one hand and shit in the other one, see what fills up first, right? That's how we grew up. Like, we don't operate that way. It seems like the league's professional, basketball, football, it's all kind of, you're worth this, we'll pay you for this. Even though you load manage, you can't take on the wrong arm, you can't take on the pooler. Micah's not very good versus the run. He clearly takes plays off. I've watched tons of film on him. I wouldn't. Myles Garrett at least gives you effort and plays both sides of the ball. He plays the run and the pass. He can go pin his ears back, and he can stop the run. I think he's the full, complete guy at that position. Micah needs another guy.
Myles Garrett's a better all-around player. There's no doubt. But Micah Parsons can wreck the game. Here's Micah Parsons. You know what, JB? The truth is we're not paying these guys on the edge. We should be. But we're not paying them to, I hate to say it, stop the run. If we were,
I know.
We were paying them to go get the quarterback, and that specialization of it gets them paid. Sacks get guys paid. All around football gets you respect, right, and gets you paid a little bit more. Now, Myles Garrett does both. When you got a dominant run stopper and a dominant pass rusher, well, then that's why you make and get all that money, $123 million guaranteed, and Garrett deserves every part of it. Here's what we are, JB. We pay on potential, and then potential gets you the money. Production gets you it and keeps you and sustains it. The problem is we can see a lot of guys who, 10 sacks, 12 sacks. Micah Parsons is a phenomenal pass rusher. He is going to get paid whether he goes by Myles Garrett. The question here is, does he deserve to go by Myles Garrett? And in my mind, the answer is no. But does he deserve to get close? Absolutely. And it depends on the team and what your needs are and who's paying you. And quite frankly, do you covet run stuffers that can also rush the passer, or do you just covet game wreckers that not only did he come in with potential, he's been a damn productive player on the rushing the quarterback and getting after it. And what those guys do is, and JB, you know this, and having played that position, they get in your head during the game week of preparation. The coordinators are so afraid of one guy strip sack, getting 3 sacks, taking the game over, they got to pay him. They do have to pay him. He is their best player. Forget just their best defensive player. Micah Parsons is their best player. One-dimensional for the most part. And JB, you and I both know he's not going to dominate in the run game defensively ever. That's not going to be a specialty. He may improve and scheme may help him, but you're paying him to go get the quarterback. And even my dogs say, pay Micah Parsons, but not as much as Myles Garrett. Did you hear Kilo say the same thing? Yeah.
Well, my fucker thinks yours is here, so he just ran.
They're talking to each other. Hey, man, what do you think? What do you think? So Parsons is going to get paid. But if you ask me, after we come out of this cycle of all this free agency and trades and new contracts, Myles Garrett should still be standing as the highest paid non-quarterback defensive player ever. But then again, there's this Jamar Chase thing that's probably going to blow by or close to Myles Garrett as well. So that's part of it that I think we got to keep a close eye on, JV, a very close eye on. Really quick here.
Speaking of that, speaking of close eyes, I continue to ask you what the Niners are doing. They just lost their best guard. Aaron Banks is signing with the Packers. So Jordan Love's getting better in Green Bay. The Niners have lost. It just seems like the Niners are losing and losing. Is this, the question I keep bringing them up, is this cutting bait to sign Brock Purdy to a huge deal?
Yeah, and it's going to be a minimum of $45 million. That was their first offer a year, which I think this right now reeks of a 500. Well, you can't, in 17-game schedule, it reeks around a team hovering. Well, they hovered below that last year, hovering below 500 right now. I don't know if they have that many weapons. I've told you before, I love Brock Purdy's grind. I love what he's built. He's actually been very productive. Now, they didn't draft him on potential. They drafted him, quite frankly, probably a bit of a throwaway when they did draft him. And he's done a great job for where he was picked. And he's making monster. He's going to make monster money. But I said last, he's not carrying a team that's less talented. He needs great players around him, and I have a lot of respect for him. It feels like the 49ers are, I hate to say total rebuild, but it feels like they are moving things around to start over. And when I say
similar to Seattle, huh? Similar to Seattle.
Same way. Both those teams in that division. They are, and start over is a little bit harsh because you still got Trent. You still got Brock Purdy. You still got Fred Warner. They still got players, but they're also losing them in a hurry, and they're not stepping up to pay him.
And Sean, your prediction may just have came true. Schefter's reporting that the Tennessee Titans are very close to signing Russell Wilson as their quarterback, and that would free up the number one spot for a draft pick there.
They're going to keep. That means they'll keep Levis as a project. They'll sign Russell Wilson, and he'll be the starter. They'll give it a hall pass year, and then they'll go out and get an Abdul Carter, or they'll go out and get a Travis Hunter, a guy that can impact their team right now and start. And you know what? Quite frankly, I don't blame them. I don't. Even though I don't think Russ is got great football in front of him, I think he's got spurts of it. That does not shock me at all. So I've been thinking Russ to Tennessee for a minute, which then will free up the Aaron Rodgers potential or possibility to Pittsburgh and make DK Metcalf and Pickens a little happier with guys who can
Sean,
actually.
If this happens, you're going to bank. If this happens, you'd bet dollars to dimes that Aaron Rodgers is a Pittsburgh Steeler, huh?
I can't imagine he wouldn't be anything but that. Going to a great football town, well coached, that always make the playoffs. They're in it every year.
Yeah.
So
also the Colts have come down to the finalists for the Daniel Jones sweepstakes. So that possibly can happen here any minute.
I think that's where Jones goes, which then brings Minnesota possibly into play. But if you're Aaron Rodgers, there is a potential that you could go there and be a backup if you went to Minnesota and followed Favre again, because they love J.J. McCarthy, dude. That's why they were willing to let Sam Darnold walk. Hey, AI.Tricera.com, smarter business, smarter funding, no limits in the golden age. The golden age of America is here, and the economy's shifting. Opportunities are everywhere, but only those with funding are going to win, guys. AI.Tricera.com is changing the game using artificial intelligence. AI is big to match your business with the best funding sources in seconds. Need 250 grand to start, 10 million to expand, or even 100 million to go big or go home. We can get you the capital you need, built by Ray Smith, CEO of Tricera. This Fortune 100 funding system is finally available to small business owners like you. The future of business funding is here. The golden age is here. Will you take advantage of it? Go to AI.Tricera.com now and get the funding for your business and the funding your business deserves. Big money there waiting on you. AI.Tricera.com, because AI makes funding smarter. No doubt about that. Yeah, JB, so the Russ Wilson, the Aaron Rodgers thing, it'll start to play itself out here in the next couple of days, but it feels like it's almost the G word, the guarantee that Aaron Rodgers sitting back knowing that this was eventually going to happen. I'm sure the conversations have taken place. I can't see him. It gives him the best chance to win, the best chance to be the starter. And now with DK Metcalf there, you would think that they'd want to secure a guy who can still throw it, and that's Aaron Rodgers. All right, JB, so we think Parsons comes in just under Myles Garrett or possibly above him, even though whether it's just timing of it all, which takes me to the back to the Metcalf wide receiver. How much money is he going to get? How much money is he going to get with his contract now? He wants a new deal. Are we staring at somewhere below the Jefferson Chase? No doubt. 25 million a year, 28 million a year. He's going to get more than 25, isn't he? Now Pittsburgh, he's going to get more than 25. So we're looking at 29, 30.
And then you're going to have money. And then you're going to have a T. Higgins disgruntled all year long on a tag. And I get it. I get the whole deal. Sean King brings it up. Like, listen, it's not our job to describe his pocketbook, but it is, this is his, after his rookie deal, Sean, you explained this to me before on our shows. After your rookie deal, if continue to be tagged, is kind of limiting your opportunity to make your $100 million, 50 guaranteed in the market when you continue just to get older as you get tagged. I get all that. T. Higgins and his mother hit the Twitter circles, kind of pissed off and disgruntled about Cincinnati Bengals doing that. If T. Higgins is going to get 26 on a tag, to your question, 29 seems a little low, right?
Oh, that's why I think Metcalf, when he gets a new deal, is going to be 30, north of 30. I do. And if you're Jamar Chase, you're saying anything, you guys do everything you want because I'm about to get mine. I'm about to get mine. The thing, as much as I like T. Higgins, buddy, and I do, I really do.
I
But
do, but
the franchise, to take the management side, looking at it from their point of view, we wanted that tag, and then they got it, and then they don't want it, especially when you go have a big season, because you're not getting all that upfront guaranteed money for a long extended time, and you got to go do it again. But if the rule allows me to franchise tag you, I'm not. This isn't me to being your buddy because I want you to be happy. I'd love you to be happy, but the rule sets up for the franchise to say, until we can get a deal done, but I got to protect. So it's a compliment because I want you, and I'm paying you in the top 5, average salary a year. But I'm not. I got another receiver that's gonna take the mother load of the money. 2 receivers end up being about 70 million a year is what it's going to be around.
yeah.
Right in that.
And you let your pass rusher go, and you got Trey Henderson go. Like, come on.
Which is one of the dumbest moves on the planet, considering they can score from the parking lot, and they can also get beat by a 7th grade team that can score 21 points or 41 points on them and beat them there because they don't defend me and you. A couple of average white inside slot receivers, okay? We might catch 9 apiece against that damn team's defense. Which sucks.
What do you say, Sean? We're Hunter Renfro, or what are you saying?
Damn right, Hunter Renfro with less hops and less speed. Okay, but I'll be just the guy who's they're afraid of my speed, so I'm just going to run hitches all day, brother.
That's all I'm going to run. I'm going to run stick. Why stick?
Yeah, hey Sean, what do you got? Hey man, I can get to that flat real quick, man. And not the flat with the curl flat combo. I'm gonna get there like an arrow route. Okay, so I don't have to push vertically, so I can get to that sideline now, brother. And I'll catch it. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of rack or yak after the catch. Okay, run after yards after catch with you and me. But you know what? Big physical receivers. A lot of times when they say big physical receiver, that means that bitch is slow. And that's exactly how they put it on us, man. So, all right.
Pro football.
Biggest skit of the day so far. I mean, it's not a contract extension like Josh Allen. What's the biggest get of this thing? Russ Wilson's going to Tennessee. That's not the biggest get. A trade, the Geno Smith, Devontae Adams, a signing. What's the biggest get so far as we sit here from trades over the weekend and to free agency right now in your mind? Where are we with the biggest get for a team? Who improved the most?
I mean, I'm a homer and all that. You can call me biased. I just still think the Rams have improved. And I'm looking at the Niners and the Eagles as the 2 probably most, I guess, Super Bowl favorites in the NFC. You would have to think it's those 2 as far as their rosters. Eagles at 1. I'm thinking the Rams are catching them little by little, and they were this far from beating them in the playoffs and winning another Super Bowl. I think the Rams have made the best with Devontae Adams in that offense. I think the defensive line is young. They go-getter. They had 11 sacks in 2 playoff games against the Eagles and the Vikings, and that's with losing freak of nature, one of the best D linemen ever. And everyone thought their D-line would suffer, and their D-line got better. And that's Les Snead in the Rams organization getting better in the draft when guys passed on guys. So Howie Roseman in Philly, Les Snead in L.A. doing a great job, Sean. And I think the Rams have improved. And I would have to say Geno Smith to the Raiders.
Yeah.
Preserving Aiden O'Connell from having to play right now on a bad roster, I think is crucial. As you and I hope, we wish the best for quarterbacks and their growth. I think Aiden O'Connell, having a buddy of mine coaching him in college at Purdue, says he's got big time upside, can make every throw in the NFL, long, big. That's a huge get. He gets to learn from a Geno Smith, and I think that's good for the Raiders. But they have so many holes, Sean. But Pete Carroll knows what he's doing, and you got Max Crosby signed, and that was number 1. You got Max Crosby signed, and now you got to fill holes.
I'm thinking the same way you are. DK Metcalf's a really good get. Hell, even going back to, for me, things that have happened here. Metcalf's a good get because you need another explosive player opposite Pickens. The problem is they don't have a quarterback, yet they're a playoff team. So I'm not talking about Super Bowl. The Rams have upgraded. You get Devontae Adams, and part of that is keeping Matt Stafford. That was a wise move. The Raiders keeping Max Crosby and going and getting Geno Smith is an upgrade. They'll be more productive offensively than they've been since Carr was there. And I actually think Geno spins it even better. And I think he's tougher. I just do.
Yeah,
I
got nuts and guts.
mentally and emotionally.
Yeah.
And even though I love Carr's a grinder, but boy, are those New Orleans Saints, what are they doing? And they're in salary cap hell with that contract. But I'm going to tell you a couple sneaky ones. And the team I'm leaning to right now, remember now, if Deebo Samuel's healthy, a 5th-round draft pick, Commanders. Jaden Daniels. Now Javon Kinlaw, 3 years to shore up defensive side of the ball. To me, that is I don't know if it's under. For me, it feels under the radar because it's not quarterback. It's not a big play, a wide receiver or an edge rusher. It's an interior guy that can play. It's the wide receiver Swiss Army knife who people are questioning how durable is he, what's he got left in his game, to Washington, who is really friggin' good. And they proved it to Detroit and then laid an egg versus Philly. But for what reasons? They couldn't get off the field defensively and they didn't play well offensively. So 2 good gets for them. I think the team that's suffering, the 49ers, are taking some steps back, man. And they're gonna have to fix this if they want to be competitive this year. And I'm with you on both because the Rams are a legitimate Super Bowl threat. The Raiders are not. Washington is. Pittsburgh's always got a chance, but they've got to get the quarterback. So those are a couple that stick out to me, JB, that jump out at me and say, but Washington's sneaky. The Deebo Samuel thing's going to get lost in the shuffle with all this stuff happening today and tomorrow. But with adding Kinlaw to it, and I imagine they're not done yet, and they've got a great underrated receiver. That quarterback is the real. Jaden Daniels is as real as it gets. So there's a couple things that stick out. Obviously, we're still keeping an eye on Rodgers. We're still keeping an eye on Cooper Kupp, and is he going to get dealt? What's going to go on with Micah Parsons' deal? So there's still a lot to happen, and there'll still be some wow factor moves, I would imagine.
Sean, pro football talk, your boy Mike Florio, he's reporting that Aaron Rodgers it's coming down to the Steelers or the Giants, which kind of is a shocker. Steelers aren't. The Giants are still to be in the conversation. Well, it's kind of interesting.
Here's what I'll say to Aaron. Not that he cares what I say. Do you want to watch the playoffs and be out of it at the beginning of December, or do you want to be in it in December with a chance to go? And we know what the difference is in both. Fact.
Sean, as you sit here and speak, because this is a free agent day, and you got to break news when it comes out. You got to mention right there in your backyard. Very surprising move just happened. Your Texans traded 5-time Pro Bowler Laramie Tunsil to the Commanders, the team you just spoke of. Wow. All I can say is fucking wow.
Listen, I'm going to tell you something, JB. Before we go, well, let me get this. Let me get my flash funding guys some love real quick, and then we're going to finish up with this one. And that just broke right there. So JB, thanks for keeping an eye on that. Flash funding is dedicated to helping businesses grow and expand by providing the cash flow they need exactly when they need it. Instead of waiting on receivables, businesses can access immediate funding to seize growth opportunities, cover operational costs, and maintain profitability. We partner with a diverse range of businesses, not just to support their success, but to offer financing solutions beyond what traditional banks can provide. 14 years of industry experience, committed as a team to delivering exceptional service, which, listen, there's no price tag on exceptional service. There's just not. We understand that cash flow is the key to business growth, and we're here to help you unlock it. Flash Funding offers factoring services across the continental U.S., providing same-day funding with no monthly minimums or application fees. When it comes to financial flexibility, we're the ideal solution for your business needs. We're going to wrap this up. Later, we got Dave Stewart tomorrow, former big-time 20-game winner pitcher, long-time pitcher. Warren Moon will join us this week. Clint Hurdle will join us this week as well, among others, as we're rolling. JB, let me go back to this. I've got a lot to say about this. I'm going to try to limit it, and we can hit it more tomorrow. I want to hear your response. Laramie Tunsil, when it comes to pre-snap penalties, is a turd, okay? Now, let me tell you, he's an upgrade for Washington because when the ball is snapped, his hands and his feet, he's one of the best in the league. There is no doubt. And it is a major upgrade for Washington. And maybe, just maybe, Dan Quinn and that offensive team, and they can get them because he's going from a good quarterback in Stroud to a good quarterback in Daniels. Maybe they can supply some discipline and force him to, because he's an undisciplined pre-snap guy. He just is. Every year he's at the top of the league in penalties, and his pre-snap stuff, he's a turd. He just is. I watch him every day. Is he a good? You can't be considered Trent Williams and one of those guys if you're killing my team every fucking time we go walk to the line of scrimmage and you're moving. And 1st and 15 is a problem, and he's been a problem with that. Now, ball snap, He'll grade out every week as one of the best tackles in the league. It is an upgrade. That's one. Two is Laramie Tunsil's a lazy off-season guy. He doesn't show up to sometime. He just is. He's been for the Texans. I get why they traded him. I do. A lot of money for a guy that offensive line, quite frankly, has been a detriment to Houston Texans football. I'm talking about a detriment. And this offseason on my local show here in Houston, Sports Talk 790, Sean Salisbury show 6 to 10 Central Time, shameless promo. Triple E's on that with me as well. But I can tell you this, I've talked about it all year long. I've talked about it for 2 years. The guy can play. He ain't the best left tackle in football, but he's an upgrade for Washington because they need it. But there's this sense of feeling like, I'm going to tell you the buzz on the show tomorrow, my local show is going to be good. You're going to get a lot of people that are going to say that. I'm just telling you, you're going to get a lot of people. Why? Off-season, kind of going through the motions in the offseason, and DeMeco Ryans doesn't play that. They want all in all the time, and so does Nick Caserio. Did you weaken your offensive line today? Yes. So you better have a damn plan if you're the Texans, or you're even more screwed with C.J. Stroud as your quarterback and trying to build something special. They're letting Stephon Diggs, do his thing, go find another team. So you may see more wow factor moves by the Texans draft-wise, using assets to move up, with some of the assets from the Watson stuff. But they have got to get it. I mean, they are bad offensive line. They've got guys on left tackle going to left. I mean, they're not good. And it's been a problem. And Laramie Tunsil's been part of the problem. Even though he's the best one on this team, he still missed me with the he's Trent Williams shit or he's Ronnie Stanley. He missed me with that because he's not. But he is an upgrade, and he is a damn good player when the ball snapped. I can't have you a some of the time guy. I got to have you an all the time guy. And that's just lack of focus and paying attention, and whether it's in the meeting rooms. And my thing is, when you jump off sides that many times, have that many penalties, what are they allowing to happen on the practice field? And that bothers the shit out of me. You know this, JB, you coach it. If you're allowing it on the practice field, they're not good enough to turn it on Sunday and just roll the ball out and say, don't get penalized. But Washington will be an upgrade with Tunsil. And maybe it's a wake-up call to say, dude, come on now. You got an opportunity to fix this. Get involved in the offseason program. Get new energy back. All those things that they are going to need in Washington because they're really friggin' good. They have the same buzz about them now that the Texans had coming into this season this past year. Same buzz. And the Texans' offense was a letdown this year. Injuries, offensive line play. That offensive line was a detriment to the Houston Texans. So this does not shock me. I'm surprised that they pulled the trigger. It does not shock me that Laramie Tunsil's not here, because when you're allowing that to happen, it permeates through the whole offensive line. I don't know what they're going to do to upgrade the position. I know damn well this will not shock a lot of people in Houston on the show tomorrow, and it shouldn't shock a lot of you around the NFL if you watched him play every week. Good player, great players don't jump off sides 15 fucking times in a season. They just don't. And I don't care. Can you imagine a quarterback, if a quarterback, let's say a quarterback took 27 intentional groundings or pre-snap, pulled away and got called 15 times for illegal procedure, or a wide receiver, another inexcusable place to jump off sides. You can't have pre-snap movement. I don't give a shit if Deacon Jones, Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, Reggie White, and Lawrence Taylor are playing over you. You can't move that fast. You just can't. And so upgrade for Washington. I think it's an absolute. It doesn't shock me that the Texans are moving on from him, but you weakened your offensive line. Now you've got to find a way to go find something dominant, not only in this free agency part or trade, but also in the draft. It tells me they're going to make it. They're going to try to make it work to get this thing upgraded, and getting Christian Kirk, which we haven't talked about that much. It's an upgrade for them too. JB, did he lose? Did we lose JB? Is he still there? Upgrade Christian Kirk, and that the Christian Kirk get made it easier for them to allow, obviously, a receiver from Stephon Diggs to move on and not pay him, I'm sure, what he wanted in that injury, because he was headed to a good season. So hopefully we'll get JB back here as we wrap this show up. I'd like to get his opinion on it. Washington got better offensive line play. The Texans got worse. But, again, as undisciplined as they are, Tunsil was part of the problem last year with the way they played. What do you think, Triple E? Did the internet cut out on him, or?
Yeah, I think it dropped off on him.
Dropped off? All right. Well, you know what? We'll have it'll be a good place to lead tomorrow. There'll be a lot going on as we jump into it. We'll have Dave Stewart tomorrow, a former great pitcher in Major League Baseball and tough as hell. Looking forward to have Dave on. but we'll spend a lot of time with this wrapping up the first day of free agency tomorrow. We'll get JB's take on Laremy Tunsil. And coming down the pike here, guys, it's going to be an opportunity as we roll down the pike where I'm going to do in the next, probably starting the beginning of April, I'm going to start doing 15 or 20 minutes post-show, and you'll have all the questions you want, bringing you guys in where it's just basically a round table with me and you guys. So we'll do that. And we'll also put together a really fun, which is my favorite sporting event of the year, is March Madness. Diehard fan, love it. My favorite is college hoops. And I bet it a lot. And we're going to put together a March Madness, some kind of pool. We're working on it right now so we can all get involved because that's coming right down. We got conference championships, number 1 seeds on the line as you head into those conference championships. And a big win, by the way, by Alabama on the little floater in the lane to upset Auburn on the road this past weekend on Senior Day. So much more of that. We'll get JB's thoughts on Tunsil tomorrow. But this doesn't shock me. It just surprised me they had the balls to move on from him. Washington right now is the biggest winner in free agency with Debo, Tunsil, and the underrated one is Javon Kinlaw. They're thinking Super Bowl through and through. They're not going away. We will be back tomorrow, and we appreciate you right here at 2 o'clock Central with Triple E and for JB, and we'll get all – hey, sometimes you can't control what's going on around. It's been one of those crazy days on Twitter too with all the technology stuff. But, hey, we got it in. We appreciate it. Triple E, thank you. To Craig Larson behind the scenes, to Laura Palmisano behind the scenes, to you and JB. Love it. And to all you, we love it. You guys are the best. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Unpaved.